Hi, my name is Peter Karen. I am one of your selectmen, and I'm here today with Ralph Vitaco, who is our town administrator. I
Very
always
good.
mess up that last name. And we're filming today a public service announcement that we hope to be the first of many to come. Just things about happening in town, town meeting, events that are coming up, things that you maybe were always curious about, and we hope this works out well. It should be on Channel 9 a couple times a day for the rest of the week, and then we'll film another one next week with a different topic. Here is Ralph. I want to introduce him. He is our town administrator. He's been here since October.
Yeah.
And his just a brief history of what he does and who he is.
Yeah, hello, thank you. I'm Ralph Vitaco. I'm the town administrator. I've been your town administrator here in Dighton for about 7 months now. I'm very happy to have the position. One of the big things we do is we carry out the directives of the Board of Selectmen, and we work on the budget. We put together the warrant, and that's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. There's an important article, Article 18, on this year's annual town meeting. So I'm here with Peter, and we're going to discuss it because I know there have been a lot of questions out there about it.
We're going to jump right in. Like Ralph just said, there is the town warrant, which has many articles on it. And one of the biggest articles is the Sanitation Enterprise Fund. And I'm going to ask Ralph a series of questions about the Enterprise Fund that would hopefully not put you at ease, but certainly give you a heads up of what some of the things mean. So Ralph, can you start off by telling us what an enterprise fund is?
Sure, absolutely, Peter. So an enterprise fund, it is a separate accounting and financial reporting mechanism. It's used for municipal services. We have an enterprise fund here in Dighton already. It's for the sewer enterprise fund. So throughout the Commonwealth, there are almost 900 enterprise funds amongst the 351 municipalities. And in terms of trash sanitation, 132 of those communities have an enterprise fund. Mm-hmm. You know, the purpose of the enterprise fund is so we can segregate funds, establish a fee, and that money we collect is dedicated to that service. The way it is now, if we're talking about trash, sanitation, the money we collect for that isn't earmarked necessarily for sanitation or trash. It goes into the general fund, and it can be used for anything. Mm-hmm. By creating an enterprise fund, you make sure that you provide long-term stability for that service. So the funds you collect, are going to be used for that service.
Sure.
And we know how important trash pickup is here in Dighton. As we move forward, if we're having difficulty in balancing the budget and we look at different services, we could adjust and cut. If it wasn't an enterprise fund, it would be subject to that.
Okay. So this is definitely not a 2.5 override or a debt exclusion. This is strictly the funds that we collect would go towards paying the line item budget of trash,
correct,
which would then come out of the budget,
right,
and be an enterprise fund all to itself.
Exactly. It is separate. It is separate from the general funds.
Yeah.
Again, just like sewer,
yes,
sewer enterprise fund, you see what the costs are. You could understand what the fee is, and it's very transparent. Again, the fees collected for that service are dedicated to that service.
Okay. We've gotten by so far, so long without an enterprise fund. Yeah. Why do we need one?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Because in the recent past, we have more obligations that are stressing our general fund. The primary obligations which are creating that are the capital programs by Bristol Plymouth Vocational mm-hmm. School and Bristol Aggie. As you know, because you deal with it and you hear me every day, Peter,
yep.
In 2026, our obligation was $720,000. So we have to take $720,000 to pay that obligation, and we're removing that from the general fund. And that's $720,000 less we use for services and all the other things we need here in town. In fiscal year 27, that goes up to $810,000.
Wow.
Fiscal year 28, $874,000. And we think it's going to start stabilizing in fiscal year 29 to just a little north of $900,000. So what an enterprise fund would do is we're using our general obligation funds to handle a service, i.e. trash. We're using general obligation funds to handle a debt. You know, again, the Commonwealth allows us to take that service out, identify those fees, and then we could use those fees for that specific service. So, and then it frees up, it'll free up general funds to meet our other obligations in town.
So this basically, trash will still have to be picked up. It still will be picked up. It's just that the funding source will be through another revenue generating.
Right.
And
we're establishing a fee
Yep.
for it, right? Fee for service.
right, okay.
Yeah.
Now, it's just the trash that's going to be put into this enterprise fund?
Yeah, we're looking at the sanitation line items, which includes curbside pickup and the transfer station. As you know, that cost for fiscal year 26, that's costing the town of Dayton about $944,000.
Sure.
Yeah. If we project forward next year, that cost is going to be about $982,000. That fee, that service, you know, again, represents about 3% of our budget, and that's money which we could be putting towards capital improvements, towards the police, fire,
Right.
highway, and all the other services we
Okay.
provide to the town of Dayton, for the town of Dayton.
And do we just say we're having an enterprise fund?
I wish it was that easy, right? But the answer is no. The enterprise fund, as we had mentioned right at the beginning, is going to be on the annual town meeting, article number 18. So to initiate the enterprise fund, the town has to vote for it. So it's just a simple majority vote. And once that is enacted, if it is enacted, once it is enacted, it will go into place for fiscal year 27. So starting July 1st, 2026 is when the enterprise fund begins. We need that year to figure out what are the costs associated with an enterprise fund, so we can accurately determine how much of a fee we need to collect. We're looking at direct fees, direct costs, and indirect costs. We have a good idea of what it
Yep.
is because we do it all the time.
Sure.
We know the costs associated with curbside pickup, and we know the costs associated with the transfer station. So we're in the ballpark as it is, and we're very, very close.
Right.
In addition to that, we have to work out a mechanism. Again, if it's approved, and again, if it's approved, it'll start July 1st,
Yep.
2026. We would use that year from annual town meeting to the July 2026 to determine those costs and then work out the best mechanism to collect those fees. I've presented several methods, but I think the one that the selectmen are leaning towards, and we've been hearing a lot from the community as to which way they want to go, and it seems to be starting to do an analysis on on pay as you throw and we'll just do straight bag collection. So we think that's probably the simplest way to go. It's the fairest way to go, and it seems the easiest one to enact and for people to understand.
I understand. So my trash is still going to get picked up.
Yes.
Which is very important. The price of the bags may go up to supplement this transfer fund.
Right.
Sanitation Enterprise Fund. How else does it get funded? The trash bags, but what else goes into that account? You said something about the transfer station. So somebody buys a sticker, that's part of the transfer fund?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So and this is again, what if this gets enacted? It'll, for the most part, it will be as what you're currently doing, what the people of Dayton are currently doing.
Okay.
Using the bags, putting the bags to the curb. If you put recycling will be picked up. If you use the transfer station, right? There's an annual sticker that goes on a car to get you into the transfer station. So that will remain. We're not looking to change anything like that. We want to make it a seamless operation.
Yes.
The big thing will be if we go with the bags that there will be an increase in bag prices.
Sure. So basically, pay as you throw is a terminology that gets thrown around, no pun intended, out there. And if you conserve your trash, you'll end up by paying less. If you are excessive, you're going to pay more.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we've determined, based on averages, what we get from the DEP, believe it or not, the average household generates about 1,200 pounds of trash a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, people are accustomed to the bags. There's the large bags, which holds 33 gallons, and a small bag holds 15 gallons. And if you're looking at it, well, how much weight is in a bag, a 33 gallon? They estimate 25. Borges has it up to 40. They're not going to pick up anything more than 40. But let's go with 25 pounds. If you use a 33 gallon bag and you generate the average, right, 1,200 pounds of trash a year, you're going to be using, and I have to look, almost 50 bags a year. So if people are trying to wonder what is that cost going to be to me, and again, we're looking at, say, the large bags are $7 a bag. If you use about the 49.64 bags a year, you're looking at $348 a year. But we have to, we're going to look at those numbers, and we're going to take that year before it gets implemented again, July 2026. We're going to look at that. Can we provide a senior discount? Mm-hmm. And I think if you go on the website and you saw the analysis I did, I think we can.
Okay.
I think we can provide a senior discount. Have them buy the bags. They'll have to come to town hall because we can't ask our partners to police that. So once a month, they could buy a sleeve of bags and at a reduced price. And also, the pay-as-you-throw model was developed to reduce trash and reduce waste. So we would be strengthening our recycling program, putting it out there, making sure people know what they can recycle, where to take their recycles. They could do it curbside or take it to the transfer station. And additionally, we're going to be introducing composting, backyard composting. 28% of our trash is food waste and compostable.
That's heavy.
So yeah, it is. So we want to be out there. We want to help help the people of Dayton to reduce their waste, because in the end, that reduced our
Sure.
right. That reduced our
Right.
costs,
And it would reduce their cost as
and it
well.
will reduce.
What's nice, well, one, we do have a waste reduction committee
Yes.
made up of residents from the town
Mhm.
and some town officials, which is coming up with these programs to reduce trash. So
Absolutely.
one of the best things is, if you want to save money and not have that $300 some odd dollar bill every year buying trash bags,
Yeah.
is to have waste reduction.
Right, exactly. And if this still airs before Cow Chip, we're going to have a table at Cow
Cow
Chip,
Chip, yeah.
with the compost bin,
Great.
showing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we go to the town meeting. It's full of town residents who are going to vote. And the enterprise fund, Article 18,
Article 18.
comes up. And worst case scenario is it doesn't pass.
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, we're going to have to take a look at the budget, and as I had put out, we're looking at fiscal year 2027, a shortfall of somewhere in the neighborhood from $1.2 million.
Yep.
We're going to have to make that up somehow, and that's and that's something I will be working with the board of selectmen to determine how do we make that up, that shortfall. Do we look at personnel cuts? Do we look at service cuts? Do we look at something that has been talked about before? Do we look at the debt exclusion to cover the reintroduction of the debt exclusion to cover that obligation we have
Sure.
for BP and Bristol Aggie?
Right.
And do we look at a Proposition 2.5? These are things we're going to look at, but the final determination will be through the Board of Selectmen. And I really think that as we look at the options, right, the enterprise fund is a viable option because the citizen gets to control the fee that they pay.
Yes.
Right? So, and I think that's an important component. And the fee you pay goes directly for that service.
Right.
Again, it doesn't it doesn't get spread out into the general fund to pay for other things.
Okay.
And that's like as now if you buy bags now, we could just raise the fees for the bags now, but that gets that money gets to be used for other services.
Sure. Street
And
sweeping and
street, anything.
Sure.
And that doesn't protect that
Right.
curbside pickup.
Yep.
An enterprise fund does.
Okay.
It protects the service you're getting feed for.
Sure, I understand. One of the things that always happens at town meeting is, and it's probably our fault for the way we write the warrant,
Yeah.
is what's a yes vote mean and
Yeah.
what's a no vote mean. So
Yeah.
it comes up, Article 18, we say, do you want an enterprise fund?
Yeah.
What happens if we say yes?
Yeah, a yes vote for the enterprise fund means we initiate an enterprise fund.
Okay.
So which will begin, and that part is spelled out in the warrant. The language is pretty simple, but it says you're creating an enterprise fund for sanitation to begin fiscal year 2027. So, and if it gets voted, so that means we will be committed to an enterprise fund for three fiscal years.
3 fiscal years.
And it also means that the Board of Health, in conjunction with the Waste Reduction Committee, we start taking a look at those direct costs and indirect costs, and we make a presentation to the selectmen saying, this is what we determined it to be. These are the fees. This is our recommendation.
Okay.
A no vote means no enterprise fund, status quo.
Yep.
It's the way we are. So we would have to, going forward, what tools do we use to balance the budget?
Right.
You
That's
know,
where we talk about cutting services and
that's
personnel
and that's it.
Right.
And the things we are going to have to look at, and again, just doing some projections.
Yes.
And not using free cash, we're looking at about a $1.2 million shortfall, which is significant, especially when a budget of $29 million.
Right.
It's a lot of money, whether regardless of the budget.
Sure.
Regardless of the budget, but it's something we have to sharpen our pencils. If
Right.
we don't get it, what do we do? What are the next steps?
Yep. Okay. We are a small community, but we basically run as a business. Town doesn't make money, but they have to break even. And
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. And if the revenue as it stands is not helping us break even, then we have to look for another source of revenue. Obviously through growth of commercial, residential growth. Without raising taxes, it's a business that requires accountability to our residents.
Yeah.
And one of the questions I want to ask is, who determines the bag cost?
So we will be doing an analysis. When I say we, I mean town management, Board of Health, Waste Reduction Committee. So we'll be looking at the numbers, again, looking at the costs, the direct costs, indirect costs, which I say it's going to be very, very close to what we're looking at. We have we have numbers. We know like last year we sold almost 113,000 large bags and about 46,000 small bags. We projected to sell more this year, 124,000 large, 41,000 small. And we kind of look at the direct costs, use math, and break out the averages.
Sure.
So
one of the things we always try to protect the citizens, and something is going to have to happen if the enterprise fund does not pass. And is it as simple as raising the price of trash bags anyway? Or does it have to be an enterprise fund to raise the price of the bags?
Right. Again, just by raising the trash bag costs, I mean, we'll raise money, but it's still within the general fund.
Right.
It still can be used for everything.
Sure.
It's still going to be used for the debt obligation. So I think it's cleaner to use it a fee associated with the bags, because then it's outside of it, and then how do we, what are we linking the cost of the bag to, if not an enterprise fund? Right? And then we just, we're short $1 million, let's charge $100 a bag.
Right.
And of course I'm being dramatic, but when it's tied to an enterprise fund, and there's an accounting methodology that we have to report to the state, and it's direct cost to the service that is provided. Where if we just want to just raise bag fees, that will be the easiest way to do, but it's not associated to that service, and it doesn't it doesn't protect that service.
Right.
Where an enterprise fund does.
Okay.
It protects the service, because the same way with sewer, it protects it. The funds, they're dedicated to that service. Where if we're just raising prices to go into general fund, it doesn't necessarily protect that service.
Right, I understand. So to wrap this up, it's not a tax, it's basically a fee.
Yes.
And to control the amount that you have to pay every year is just being educated on the trash that you have to throw out.
Exactly.
If
That's
you could
that's
reduce it prior to
Yeah.
it coming to the curb, you're going to pay less money.
Right.
If
The
you,
fewer bags you use, the
the
less
less
you
money
pay.
you will
Yeah.
pay. Which seems to me a lot better than getting a bill every year for $350,
Or thereabouts. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
regardless of how much trash you throw out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. This is going to be the first of many. Like I said, what we're looking for is to do a different subject every week. But one of the subjects that we will have is a question and answer from the public. We ask that you either call Town Hall and or my email, which they will post on the screen, it's to ask questions that any subject. So one of the future shows that we will have will just be reciting those questions and coming up with the answers. Again, the email and the phone number will be on the screen, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.